Hello, my name is George, and today I'm doing a quick recap on what it's like to use, or what it has been like to use my 9900K for a little over a year now. I obtained my i9 Intel Core i9 9900K CPU last October, and I have used it ever since with no issues. So there was one issue that didn't have to do with the CPU, but more or less the motherboard. And, I had a couple of SSDs go dead, so I had to replace the motherboard. And I'll go through and tell you what specs this 9900K has, and does it still live up to today's scene. And I am a live streamer at the same time that I game, but I also do use a stream PC. So basically, all I use my 9900K for is gaming. And I'm just going to give you a few thoughts on what I've thought about this CPU and how I have it overclocked and so on and so forth. So the 9th gen Core i9 CPU was released last year. It is a Coffee Lake refresh of the 8700K that came last year. It is a mainstream desktop processor, and it is 8 cores and 16 threads with a 4.7 gigahertz turbo stock. Still on the 14 nanometer plus version of Intel's Coffee Lake architecture, and I actually paid 850 US equivalent for the CPU when I purchased it last year. Even though the retail price of this CPU worldwide is supposed to be 500 USD, I still paid a significant premium because that's how Tokyo and therefore the rest of Japan rolls with the price of these Intel parts. They put a luxury premium on it, so not only do we have to pay customs and duties and get overpriced on that, but we also have to purchase the CPU from the store, and they overprice on that, so on and so forth. So my 9900K is nothing special. It is a 9900K non-KF, non-KS. I've had it running at 5.1 gigahertz, and in the beginning when I first received it, or when I first obtained it, it was on my Z390 Asus Maximus X Hero motherboard, and it ran well for a long while until I had a couple of SSDs go bad, and I think my RAM was starting to act up on that board, and I was running 64 gigs. I have a 2080 Ti in this build. So it ran well for a while on my Z370. What I didn't know is that I was going to have to end up repurchasing a motherboard. And when I was running it on the Asus board, it was running stable 5 gigahertz the whole time. I had a -4 AVX offset on it because that's what is recommended to run. You need to put some AVX offset on your CPU in order to accommodate the AVX workload, because it does run the CPU hot as crap. I am on a 360 millimeter liquid cooler from Corsair. It's called the H150i Pro, I believe. It's worked fantastically the whole time. Another thing is once I got my Aorus Master, that's what I ended up upgrading my motherboard to. I got an Aorus Master from Gigabyte. I was able to bump up my AVX to 0, so I'm 5.1 gigahertz all-core, 8-core, 16-thread at 1.325 V-core, and with no AVX offset. So now it runs at 5.1 gigahertz all the time, and it has worked flawlessly. What I should have realized is that just because you can use a CPU on an older motherboard, or that it's supported on an older motherboard, does not mean that you should, especially if you're an overclocking enthusiast like I am. If I had to redo it, I would have purchased a Z390, specifically this Aorus Master board, when the 9900K when I purchased it to use in conjunction with it. So yeah, that's I could have had a much better time the whole time had I had just remembered to take the time to upgrade my motherboard with the CPU when I replaced my 8700K with the 9900K. So when I had my 8700K, I had that running at 5 gigahertz, no AVX offset. Oh, I was running it at 5.2 gigahertz with no negative AVX offset, and it ran stable the whole time. I wanted the 2 extra cores. It's not something that I really needed. But I was able to get 5.1 gigahertz from the 9900K, so I guess there was a there was an improvement right there in terms of clock versus my 8700K. But when talking about overclocking, the 8700K actually ran a lot cooler, so I was able to bump it up to like 5.2 the whole time. Whereas the 9900K, I can run it at 5.2, but it runs so hot that it's on the verge of like thermal throttling, even though it does not quite. So, in terms of gaming performance, I mean, it's like the same. It's a little bit quicker on the 9900K, especially when you run, core heavy base games like Rainbow Six Siege and such. I can hit higher frame rates. I get better 1% lows. I get better average FPS in general. So that's my main game is Rainbow Six Siege. So it's been a worthwhile upgrade for me, and I've had a great time with it. It's been a fantastic CPU. Why I did not upgrade my CPU from the 9900K to the 3950X from AMD when it came out is as well because my 9900K stock versus the 3950X stock will still run faster in games, and I don't encode in game on the same PC. Again, I run a stream PC, so I really just needed the blazing quickest CPU for gaming. I didn't really need it for gaming and streaming at the same time. So it didn't matter to me. I just needed that one task of gaming to be just blazingly quick, and it's still slightly quicker than the 3950X stock versus stock. So at the time, I just run the 9900K, and even after the 3950X came out, the 9900K stock versus stock is still quicker. So I continue to run it without upgrading my gaming rig. And on top of that, I've overclocked the crap out of the CPU, so I got 5.1 gigahertz, 1.325 volt V-core with no negative AVX offset, which I think blows the doors off of it. Well, it doesn't blow the doors off of it, but like for my gaming needs, it absolutely is quicker than any AMD build that I could do right now. I am capable of running 5.2 gigahertz at 1.365 V-core on my Aorus Master motherboard with this particular sample that I'm running here. With that being said, the temperatures are like still, it's really high, and if I don't keep the fans clean, if it gets a little bit dirty, it gets up there, it gets really toasty in like the high 90s, and it doesn't thermal throttle quite yet, but it's still like, I'll be fine with 5.1. For 24/7 use, so I have not bumped it up to 5.2, even though that ability is still there. And I think that's that's the intrinsic value in Intel is that you have the ability to take things into your own hands, and you can boost the clocks higher, even though stock versus stock they're really no different. Intel versus AMD. I mean, you get more cores on AMD. It is my definite answer that if you are planning on purchasing a CPU right now, you do not pick this CPU up, especially if you are gaming and streaming on the same platform. If you like using the X264 encoder, do not pick up a 9900K. Pick up a 3950X or even a 3900X. It has more cores. You may not get as high FPS in gamings, but like if you're encoding and streaming on the same PC, you want to go with that AMD CPU. It'll do everything quicker. You'll be able to multitask more, so on and so forth. So objectively, you should get AMD. But if you are running a stream PC to encode everything on, like myself, then that is the only Intel CPU that I recommend currently is the 9900K. I would still probably say you should go with the AMD CPU, but I am running an AMD CPU for my streaming rig, so I'd rather just run the quickest. I'd rather just run the fastest of the fastest because I'd have no requirement for extra cores from AMD. If I did have a 3950X in my gaming rig, I'd just be gaming on it anyways, and then I'll put my NDI to a streaming rig, which would encode it for me, and we'll put it up to mixer and stuff like that. So there was just no reason for me to upgrade. In fact, I take a hit in performance on my FPS if I took my 5.1 gigahertz 9900K and replaced it with a 3950X. Even with an all-core 4.5, I take a huge hit. So I did not. But if you're just a simple streamer, like I say, pick up the 3900X even over the 9900K, and you'll have a great time with it. I'm sure I've used it. I just don't run it myself because that's not what I require it for. So another thing of note, and I've made a video regarding it, is that Intel will be releasing their 10th gen Core i9 CPUs pretty soon, I'm guessing. Sounds like February, March area. Will I pick it up? Yeah, I most likely will pick it up. It'll be on a new motherboard, so I'll need to purchase a new motherboard for it. If it happens to be slower than the AMD 3950X multi-core, which it will be, I'm still going to require those 2 extra cores for, for future gaming titles, and I'll probably end up picking that Intel CPU up as well because I want higher FPS, and that's really the only way that I can get it. Even though I might only get like 2% or something, it'll still be worth it in my case to upgrade my CPU. So I will go ahead and do that when the time is appropriate and they have released the CPU. Even though I've done a video on the leaks regarding the new CPU, I take it with a grain of salt. It's not exactly, we don't know for sure because it's not officially released by Intel. So let me wrap it up here because I'm starting to rant on longer than I really wanted to. Overall, my CPU has run fantastically. Okay, it has ran like a champ for a year and almost 3 months. It was very expensive when I purchased it. Are there better options out there for me? No, there is not. I required this one, and really it has ran great the whole time, sans the whole motherboard issue that I had. Yeah, if you just thinking back on the year, I should have bought the Z390 instead of running it on my Z370. I should have just bought the Z37 or the Z390 when it first came out with the 9900K, and I would have had an even better time. But it goes to show you, I had such a good time with my Z370, 9900K. I decided to upgrade it to the Z390 during the life cycle of the CPU, and it's been a fantastic experience the whole time. It's always a pleasure to turn on the PC, and it's just extremely snappy. And I'm looking forward to the next upgrade. So yeah, whenever that comes out, I'll do a more in-depth video on it now that I'm into YouTube and stuff now. I used to just do Twitch exclusively, but now I'm on different platforms making content. So yeah, now I will do official reviews on YouTube when I get new shit. So yeah, just stay tuned for that. I don't know when the date is because Intel doesn't know when the date is. So as soon as they launch it and I procure it, then I will do a video of it and show how it performs and such. So that's it from me for today. If you have any comments or questions, put them in the comment section below. Yeah. If you have not, please like and subscribe on this video if you enjoyed this content and would like to see more. I'm planning to do a big upgrade to this channel on YouTube since I am on here basically every day. Maybe not last week, but like this week, yeah, I'm going to make videos every day. So make sure you stay tuned. Hope everyone has a happy holiday if I don't make another video for the rest of this year. It is the 29th year in Japan, so yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.